It's been 7 days since COP28 UN Climate Change Conference began in Dubai. We want to get a sense of what's been happening so far and as world leaders gather to negotiate favorable deals to address the impact of climate change in their individual countries. Chinan Diko, energy expert and vice chair, African Energy Council, joins us from Dubai. Chinan, it's good to have you again on the program. Could you just tell us the key highlights, what's happening at COP28 so far? I do know that the issue of project financing has been a recurring one.
Absolutely, Will. Really good to see you again. So spot on, here at COP28 in Dubai, there's a huge amount of optimism in the air. A lot of people are really excited about, some of the announcements that have been made here and there, and particularly for Africa and Nigeria in focus. We had President Bola Ahmed Tinubu here, and he made some really good announcements around carbon trading platforms, a few around electric buses as well that we'll see being deployed across Nigeria. This is in addition to some of the compressed natural gas buses already that were announced, earlier in the year. So, yeah, generally lots of optimism, but you're 100% right. The issue of finance, project finance is coming up, and it's featuring quite a lot. In the past COPs, we've seen lots of announcements that people have made, but this has not been followed up with anything very concrete. This time around, it's starting to crystallize. So hopefully some of the announcements really translate to money on the ground.
Well, we do hope they translate to money, but we did hear President Bola Tinubu making an announcement about rolling out electric vehicles, buses across the country in Nigeria. But what infrastructure is required to make these fully functional in the country?
It's a very clever question, Will, I've got to say. So you're 100% right. It's not just simply about deploying electric vehicles or electric buses. The real question is around the infrastructure around that. How do you actually get these buses, to charging ports? How do you even set up the charging stations? All of those questions. These are the critical questions that have to be answered. So it's not a case of putting the cart before the horse. Definitely not. I think it's a very positive thing, the big announcement. But I think a lot has to be done in terms of infrastructure, charging infrastructure. How do you get that to happen? It's no use if you have a bus, on Victoria Island, leg off, and you can't make it all the way and back, to mainland and back, and that would not be very useful. So the key thing there, of course, is that we need to deploy a lot of charging ports in very strategic places, very similar to what we have today with petrol stations that are very ubiquitous all across Nigeria. Would have to get to that level of investment.
But he also announced the carbon trading system. But what would make that? Who would be responsible for making that functional? Do you know?
That's a really good question. So again, Will, at this point, there's not a lot of clarity around what department of government that would be responsible for the carbon trading platform. Yes, we have the National Council on Climate Change, NCCC, that seems to be the heir to the throne. But then we also have the Department of Climate Change within the Ministry of Environment. We also have, several other agencies that are angling and trying to, or building their own platform. So the first step would be some sort of a rationalization, bringing all of these parties, to the table so that they sit down and then work out exactly how this would happen. But to the point around carbon trading, this is a super idea. It's a great thing because it allows the country to raise finance. So again, going back to that question, Will, around corporate finance, for the energy transition, the carbon trading platform would enable and allow us to raise finance in a very, very important way. Actually, Will, I'm just stood here right next to the Nigeria Pavilion. I'm not sure you can quite see that. I'm going to pan a little bit so you can see it's Nigeria Day here at COP28. I'm not quite sure you can see it, but you see lots of people standing around. This is sort of the Nigeria Pavilion, Sustainability for All. Which is, UN agency, but Nigeria wants to put it down. It's very exciting atmosphere here, I've got to say.
Thank you so much, Chinan Diko, Vice Chair, African Energy Council, for sharing those perspectives and showing us what's happening.
Thank you very much. Yeah, great pleasure. Thanks.